On this channel, we provide useful programming information with practical code examples. This time, we'll cover the best practices for loops in TypeScript. This article explains how to use the for statement in TypeScript, covering different types of loops, when to use each one appropriately, and best practices to improve code safety, readability, and performance. Enabling subtitles will make the code descriptions easier to understand. For statements are a fundamental and powerful syntax for performing repetitive operations. In TypeScript, leveraging type safety and writing code with readability and maintainability in mind allows you to write efficient code with fewer errors. TypeScript offers several loop constructs, each suitable for different use cases. Choosing the appropriate loop is crucial for code clarity and performance. First, let's look at the standard for loop. The standard for loop is ideal when you need precise control over the iteration index. For example, you can improve this code as follows. When writing for statements, keeping the following points in mind can help you write safer and more readable code. Use let for index variables. Using let instead of var limits the scope to the block, preventing unintended behavior. Use constants and descriptive variable names to make loop boundaries explicit. Avoiding magic numbers and using meaningful variable names improves readability. Next, let's look at the for of loop. The for of loop is suitable for iterating over iterable objects like arrays and strings. For example, you can improve this code as follows. When writing for of loops, paying attention to the following points can help you write safer code. Use const for loop variables. If values are not modified within the loop, using const helps prevent accidental reassignment. Next, let's look at the for in loop. The for in loop iterates over the enumerable properties of an object. For example, you can improve this code as follows. When writing a for in loop, you can consider the following points. Filter properties. If you need to avoid inherited properties, you can use hasOwnProperty. Do not use for in with arrays. Avoid using for in with arrays. It may iterate over all enumerable properties, including those that are not array indices. Next, let's look at the for each method. When iterating over arrays, for each is concise and eliminates the need to manage indexes. When using the for each method, you can consider the following points. Use arrow functions. Use concise arrow functions to improve readability. Avoid interruptions. For each does not support break or continue. Use for, if, or for loops when needed. Next, let's look at best practices for type safety and error prevention. By leveraging TypeScript's type system, you can prevent runtime errors during iteration. First, let's look at an example of specifying strict types for loop variables. For example, you can improve this code as follows. By explicitly specifying types for loop variables, you can detect type mismatches early. Also, by enabling no implicit any in tsconfig.json, you can prevent variables without explicit types from being implicitly assigned the any type. Let's also look at an example of using read-only array. If you're iterating over an array that shouldn't be modified, you can use read-only array. Next, let's look at best practices for performance. Efficiency is crucial for loops processing large datasets or frequently executed loops. There are various ways to implement loops, each with differences in readability and execution efficiency. Efficiency varies depending on the execution environment, but for example, when running a loop a million times, the difference can become quite noticeable. Choose the optimal loop method considering maintainability and performance. Let's also look at an example using native iteration methods. Methods like map and filter can be more readable in some cases. Performance should be prioritized only in limited cases. Writing readable code is generally more important. For example, prioritizing for if can improve readability. You can also write this for statement as follows. By prioritizing for loops, you can write more readable and error-resistant code. As shown in this example, if you also need array indexes, combining entries with for is effective. Finally, let's look at some pitfalls. First, let's look at modifying a collection during iteration. Modifying an array during iteration can lead to unexpected behavior. Use a copy if necessary. Next, let's look at pitfalls related to edge cases. This code works fine, but if you need to handle empty arrays, you can improve it as follows. Considering edge cases can help prevent errors in subsequent code. To master the for statement in TypeScript, it's essential to understand various loop constructs, adhere to type-safe practices, and optimize performance. These best practices help you write cleaner, more reliable, and more maintainable code. The source code for this video can be downloaded from the official website. If you like, please visit the URL in the description to aid your learning. See you in the next video. Please subscribe and give us a thumbs up.